Good morning. Whether you are here in the sanctuary or you're watching from the library or at home, it's wonderful for all of us to be together. So as we settle in for the hour, let's pause to center our hearts and our minds for worship. And we begin this morning with the words by the Reverend Ian Rydell. Come one, come all, come with your missing pieces and your extra screws, come with your hard edges and your soft spots. Come with your bowed heads and upright spines, come all you flamboyant and drab, verbose and quiet fidgeting and lethargic, all of you with large vision and tender hearts, all you with small courage and tender fears. Bring your lisp and your stutter and your song. Bring your gravel and your drawl and your lilt. Bring your anger and your joy and your righteous indignation. Misfits and conformists and everyone in between, come into this space and be welcome. Bring who you are. Bring where you've traveled. Bring what you long for, and let us worship together.
It's time for us to light our chalice, the symbol of our Unitarian Universalist tradition. Does anyone want to come up and light? Little ones? Big one? Okay. The chalice lighting words I share today are by the Reverend Scott Taylor. They're in honor of Valentine's Day, which was just a couple of days ago. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone. We light this chalice in the names of love, the love of family that brings us into being, allows us to bloom, and then sends us on our way with courage, knowing we can return no matter what. The love of partnered hearts that teach us to trust and help us to know that who we are does not end at the barrier of our own skin. The love of friends who help us feel seen and sing our song back to us when we cannot hear it with our ears alone. The love of community that bathes us in belonging and calls us to see the needs of others as our own. And the greatest love, the love that will not let us go, even in our fear, even in our failure, even when we are lonely or lost. Love invites us home. If we listen, it is doing so even today. And now please stand as you're able for our affirmation by James Villa Blake. Today, Charlotte Salisbury, one of our new junior worship members, will lead us in our affirmation.
Please repeat after me. Love is the spirit of this fellowship.
Love is the spirit of this fellowship.
And service is its law.
And service is its law.
This is our great covenant.
This is our great covenant.
To dwell together in peace.
To dwell together in peace.
To seek the truth in love.
To seek the truth in love.
And to help one another.
And to help one another.
Well done. And now let's rise again. Sorry. And we're going to have our opening hymn, and Charlotte Walwork and any other junior worship helpers who would like to lead us in our hymn, please come on up now. Our opening hymn today is number 1007, There's a River Flowin' in My Soul. Good morning. I'm Steve Runyon, your worship associate today. Welcome to the Morristown Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. Welcome especially to any newcomers or returning members. We are delighted to have you, especially considering the weather today. It is one gray day out there. After the service, please fill out a welcome card to help you get connected with us. You can also talk to our welcome ambassador, who would love to meet you and answer any questions. Look for the sunny gold sash. If anyone needs a caring presence and listening ear this morning, our lay pastoral care associates are available in the library after the service. You'll recognize them by their sky blue sashes. Do we have anybody wearing a sky blue sash in here at the moment? No? Okay. Okay. We're a community of many ages, but we all worship together. You may occasionally hear joyful baby voices in here and the sounds of kids being kids, all signs that our congregation is alive. Families of any age can join us many ways on Sundays, including online, here in the sanctuary, or from our library just outside the sanctuary doors to the left. The library is great if you need a space to talk, soothe the crying infant, or get the wiggles out. Our service is live streamed there, so you won't miss a thing. We always have exciting things happening, and today I want to draw your attention to a few of them. Starting next week, we will begin offering childcare during our services for crawlers and toddlers. Thank you to our fabulous volunteers for making this option possible for our families with young children. Last week's concert by visiting UU musician Jim Scott, who was also our guest in the pulpit last week, has been rescheduled for next Sunday at 1 p.m. Also next week, Reverend Sasha invites all fellowship children to join her right here in the sanctuary after the service for a very brief meeting to select the Your Wish is My Command event. A fun event that our children get to choose and that Reverend Sasha will make happen for us all. I think we will all be very interested to see how that goes. Registration is now open for our spring Our Whole Lives class for first and second graders. And the deadline for our Super, S-O-U-P-E-R, Bowl Sunday has been extended to this afternoon for those dropping off food for our collection benefiting Morris County food pantries. We have an announcement from Dylan Haas. The Americans with Disabilities Act is a fundamental piece of civil rights law. The ADA coordinator for Morris County refuses to meet with Dylan to discuss accommodations for brain injury and has even denied that a previous meeting happened. We all care about justice and civil rights. What are you willing to do about those things, here and now? See Dylan after the service if you'd like to talk more about this. And there's Dylan there if you don't know who he is. Thank you, Dylan. So that is a lot to take in. Full details about these and many other activities can be found on the back of your order of service, our weekly e-newsletter, or on the website at muuf.org. And finally, please join us after the service for our social hour. And again, welcome. We're glad you're here today.
So today we are celebrating a special joy, the arrival of some new members into our community. We have 4 new members to celebrate today who all joined us since my arrival back in August. Will those new members who are here today please come forward? I believe there's 3 of you here today. Yes, there we go. Let's have the 3 of you just kind of line up across there. So my friends, we are so thrilled to welcome you as members of the Morristown Unitarian Universalist Fellowship this morning. And as you know through recent experience, the act of becoming a member, yes, come on up. go. So as you know, the act of becoming a member, a simple signature and a membership book is easy, but the decision to become a member is huge, as are the commitments that accompany it. Membership in a Unitarian Universalist congregation is about more than just the desire to belong to a community or to signal moral support for its mission. A person can do both, belong to the community and agree with its work in the world without formally becoming a member. Membership is not just about finding a spiritual home, but also about making a commitment to help keep house, to offer one's own time, talent, and treasure to help the community thrive and to bring its mission alive. And this morning, we are so happy to welcome you into membership here at the Morristown Unitarian Universalist Fellowship, and so grateful for the commitment that you have made in doing so. Today, I ask that we celebrate this commitment you have made together here in worship for a reason. Joining this congregation as a member means participating in the life of the congregation, showing up for your own spiritual needs as well as those of your fellow members, and contributing where you can with your time, talent, and treasure. If you will join us in this holy work, please say, I will. And now will the congregation please rise? In our Unitarian Universalist tradition, we are bound together not by shared beliefs, but by shared promises, called covenants, that we make to one another about the way that we will be with one another in community. And here at the Morristown Unitarian Universalist Fellowship, we call our covenant our right relations promise. And a covenant is not simply words on a page. To come alive within a community and to bring life to us, a covenant must be lived. It must be made and remade each and every day. And when times are good, our covenant helps us to deepen our experiences of the blessings that we share. And when times are difficult, as they sometimes can be in any community, our covenant helps us to heal what has been frayed and to weave a stronger community amongst ourselves. And so let us now enter into our covenant with these new members by reciting our right relations promise together, and the words are going to be here on your screen. Uh-oh. I will read them, and if you affirm that you will do this, you can say, we will. So the words are, I will listen attentively, acknowledge others' views, and try to imagine holding their opinions.
Listen attentively.
Their others' views, and try to imagine holding their opinions. I will refrain from judging other people's motives and opinions. I will seek accurate information, be willing to test my assumptions, and examine my own motives. I will communicate openly, directly, and honestly. I will go directly to a person with whom I disagree and share differences respectfully. If needed, I will use a third party to mediate. I will balance being open to new ideas and respecting old traditions. I will be patient with myself, others, and the process of change. I will allow space for feelings and emotions, mine and others. I will let go of the trivial and be willing to give and take. I will remind myself that we are all working for the shared goal of supporting the health and well-being of all the members of this community. So to everyone here today, brand new and longtime members and new and returning visitors alike, if you are willing to make or renew this covenant among us today, please say, we do. We do. And now, will all the children and the youth of this congregation please stand if you are not already? So you have a very special and sacred responsibility. You know, some of these new members have children, and those children are now part of our community too, just like you are. Do you promise to be kind companions to this new child, speaking kindly to her and helping teach her what it means to be a Unitarian Universalist? If so, please say, we do. We do. Please be seated. You stay. And Carrie Davis from our welcome team will now present these new members with a couple of small gifts, a book and a rose. This rose symbolizes the love and support of our congregation as we welcome you into membership. And this gift, this book, is just a little something to support you as you continue your spiritual journey with us. Thank you for choosing us as your spiritual home and offering the gift of your presence and your support. Amen, and blessed be and welcome. Let's go ahead and give these new members a round of applause as they return to their seats. And now it's time for our milestones and passages. Sometimes we come to this sacred space with a lot on our hearts, like a beautiful rose with sweetness and softness. Life can also, though, have its thorns. Perhaps you had a birthday, are going through some legal troubles, reached a milestone anniversary, or are coping with a mental health struggle. And children have joys and sorrows too, things that make you happy or sad. And whatever your age and whatever the roses and thorns of your own life, you can share them in this service by filling out our milestones and passages form before 9 a.m. on Sunday morning. That form can be found in our newsletter. And we also have paper forms located on the table on your way into the sanctuary. We have a few milestones and passages to share today, and please respond to each of these by saying we hold you in our hearts. Annette Tyler shares that Wednesday, February 12th, was the one-year anniversary of her husband, William Toby Tyler's death. While still grieving, she feels blessed by her fellowship family and many tangible and intangible gifts that you offered this past year. She is grateful for your friendship and love. We hold you in our hearts. Carolyn Evans shares a mixed sorrow and joy, the sorrow of her beloved older brother Tim's death on Monday, and the joy that he enjoyed a wonderful life teaching theater and set design, drawing and painting. He loved his family and was a wonderful teacher, mentor, brother, and friend. We hold you in our hearts. Mary Courtley shares an update on her brother Joe, who suffered a serious cardiac event 2 weeks ago, resulting in several serious injuries and spending the last 2 weeks in the hospital in critical care and ICU. Because of his progress and recovery, he has now been transferred to a rehab, and the family is grateful for your concern and support during this time. We hold you in our hearts. Brooke Donaldson shares the sorrow that her Aunt Gail was diagnosed with an aggressive form of brain cancer in early January and has entered hospice care at home, only a few months since Gail's wife Marty died in November. Luckily, she is comfortable. Brooke, Candace, and the babies have traveled to Massachusetts every other week to be with her during this sad time. The little ones have handled the travel well. We hold you in our hearts. And Janet Horst shares a joy today. She says, "Don't despair, you lovers of spring. Today I saw 9 robins happily digging in my garden." And now we hold you in our hearts. And now let's take a quiet moment for the prayers and meditations of our own hearts. Go ahead and close your eyes. Let yourself get nice and comfy in your chair. Take some time to breathe. Hear the breaths of the people around you, this community that holds you. Feel the spirit of life holding us all in this still moment. Let us take 3 deep breaths together and then a moment of quiet. Amen and blessed be. Now let's please remain seated as we sing number 1053 in your blue hymnal, "How Could Anyone?"
Our reading this morning is called Unlearning the Rules by the Reverend Dr. Laura Solomon, who serves as the minister at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Reading, Massachusetts. She begins by quoting Sonia Renee Taylor's "The Body is Not an Apology, the Power of Radical Self-Love," saying, "Radical self-love summons us to be our most expansive selves, knowing that the more unflinchingly powerful we allow ourselves to be, the more unflinchingly powerful others feel capable of being. Our unapologetic embrace of our bodies gives others permission to unapologetically embrace theirs." The Reverend Dr. Solomon continues, "When I was 10 years old, I learned that I needed glasses. While I remember the shock of seeing leaves on trees for the first time, what I remember more profoundly was wearing my glasses to dance class. In my mind, I was an extraordinary dancer. I knew what felt right in my body, and because I could not see myself as anything but a blob in the mirrors surrounding us, I was able to rely solely on how dancing felt. But when I showed up to dance class in my glasses, I learned that my dancing body did not look at all like I had imagined. What had felt just right was revealed to be awkward or wrong. My knees were too bent, or my elbows too high, or my head too crooked. While I am certain that my dancing improved when my vision did, I am equally certain that my dancing changed. I was more self-conscious and hesitant. I was less able to rely on what I knew felt right. In recent years, I started to dream several times a week about dance. In the 15 years since I have danced, my body has changed dramatically due to normal aging, illness, and chronic health conditions. The thought of dancing again after multiple surgeries was intimidating. I was unsure of how or if my body would move and how or if my body would be able to generate and sustain movements. Regardless, I took the frightening leap of registering for an adult dance class, having no idea what to expect. When I got home from my first class, my partner asked how it went. "I was terrible," I laughed, "and it was so good." Dancing again has meant unlearning all the rules and judgment and expectations I carried, and learning how to move my body in the ways that feel right. Amazingly, my body remembers how 10-year-old me felt before I got glasses. My internal sense of rightness, of grace, of strength has persisted all these years. I wish 10-year-old me had known how to love the terrible moves, the bent knees, the crooked head, the too high elbows, the scars, the glasses, the things my body will not do. Embodying myself, focusing only on what feels right, allowing myself to be terrible at a thing I love is the ultimate act of self-care. Embodying all of me is the best way I know to love the world. God of many names, may we find the courage to attune to our smart and powerful bodies. May we know the ways we collectively thrive and when we bring our whole selves to any place. As we unlearn what does not serve and relearn embodiment and joy, may we experience the freedom of our fullest selves. Amen. We've now come to the time in our service each Sunday when we pause to offer our gifts of financial support to this congregation. Your donations make all that we do here together possible and also help make our wider community a better place. That's because each Sunday we give at least half of the money we collect to an organization that is doing good work to advance our Unitarian Universalist values of love, justice, equity, transformation, pluralism, interdependence, and generosity in a world that hungers for them now more than ever. Today's offering will be split 50-50 with Table of Hope, which is committed to improving the quality of life of Morris County families and constructing pathways to economic stability, educational excellence, and holistic well-being. You may give in our collection plate or by following the instructions printed in your order of service and shown on the screen. Thank you in advance for your generosity.
Thank you, choir, for your music. And, if you were really enjoying that today, that is one of the pieces that Jim Scott, who was with us last week, composed. And so his concert next week will feature a whole bunch of really wonderful music. That'll be at 1 p.m. After our religious education programming. So here we are again, another Sunday, another service, another sermon. And one of my favorite things about writing sermons is the treats that I surround myself with while I work. Treats that I snack on to help fuel my little sermon writing session. And one of my absolute favorite treats in the world is cinnamon orange rolls. If you have ever had a cinnamon orange roll, you will understand they are simply divine and thus perfect for sermon writing. And they are also addictive. Seriously, I'm perfectly capable of sitting there and eating the entire pan by myself if Smokey does not get in there and grab one or two. Now, luckily, I rotate between different Sasha treats, as Smokey and I call my little sermon writing snack, so I don't feel particularly guilty about this sinfully delicious little habit when those sticky delights make their way back into the rotation. What's one little cinnamon roll, or two, or 8? However, I also hit the gym most days, and although a ballet teacher back in the day once told me that donuts make the best snacks before dance class, I do generally try to fuel workouts with a more balanced diet. And like many people in our society, when I eat delicious little treats, I sometimes begin to worry about my waistline. I begin to worry about where those cinnamon rolls are going. Are they really fueling my workouts or even my sermon writing marathons, or are they adding a little cushioning where I don't particularly want it? Now, I'm willing to bet that similar thoughts, similar concerns have crossed some of your minds. After all, we are constantly bombarded with images in the media of photoshopped pictures of beautiful, rail-thin people, mostly women, and that is an incredibly hard standard to measure up to. So whenever I find myself feeling anxious about my body, I remember Francis Dewar's story, The Flawed Ruby, and the story goes something like this. There once was a great king of vast wealth. People near and far admired him for the beautiful gems in his store. Among his most prized gems in his treasury was an enormous ruby. And every day the king liked to take the ruby out of the royal vaults and look at it. He turned it this way and that, and enjoying the way the crimson light sparkled in every facet. But one day, as he looked at that ruby, he frowned. The jewel wasn't perfect any longer. There was a scratch in one of the 58 facets. And horrified, the king summoned the royal jewelers, and he commanded them to fix the ruby. One by one, the jewelers examined the precious stone, and one by one, their faces fell. This ruby cannot be repaired, the jewelers announced. But the king would not give up. He wanted that ruby to be perfect. His reputation demanded it. One jeweler remained, and the king prayed that he could succeed where the others had failed. Please tell me you can fix my ruby and make it perfect again, the king nearly begged. And the jeweler carefully examined the ruby, humming as he turned it this way and that, and then he nodded. What, the king demanded, can you fix it? The jeweler placed the ruby on its silk cushion with great care. There is nothing to fix, your majesty. Really, the ruby is perfect and very beautiful. And the king's eyes narrowed. But the flaw, he protested. And the jeweler shrugged. There is no flaw in this gorgeous gem, your majesty. There is only a scratch. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if you would like, I can help make it so that you can see its beauty. Do so, the king commanded, and so the jeweler departed. And a week later, the jeweler returned and brought the ruby promptly to the king, saying reverently, "It was perfect already, your majesty, but now see how the light shines through. So beautiful." And frowning, the king held the ruby up to the light, and then he gasped. There, etched in one of the ruby's 58 facets, the jeweler had carved a tiny, delicate rosebud, its stem formed from the scratch. "Isn't it breathtaking?" the jeweler asked. And the king had to agree that it was indeed breathtakingly beautiful, perfect in every way. And our bodies, too, are like precious rubies, multifaceted in our diversity and shining with an inner light that reveals the beauty in every single form. Our bodies are the homes of our souls. They are the forms with which we move through this thing called life. They give us senses with which to experience the world. They give us emotions that enrich our experiences. They house our minds. Without our bodies, none of this would be possible. Like the gem in our story, our bodies are worthy of reverence. We're going to explore that a bit more here soon, but first we're going to go ahead and pause briefly as we do here to sing together before continuing today's sermon. And we're going to actually remain seated for this one and sing hymn number 1011 in your blue hymnal. It's Return Again, and we're going to revisit this meditative song a few times today. Our society constantly bombards us with messages trying to feed us a terrible lie. The lie that our bodies are not good and beautiful homes for our souls just as they are, and that they need serious renovation. A few years ago, I met a photographer who showed me some photos that he had taken. He was really proud of his editing skills, but the changes to his photos went way beyond simple touch-ups. He showed me a set of before and after pictures of a young black woman. When I looked at the first image, I saw nothing wrong with it. The model was beautiful. I couldn't imagine what needed to change. And then he showed me an edited version of the same image. The model's face and waistline had been slimmed. Her brows had been shaped, her lips plumped, and her lashes thickened. And those kind of changes are, of course, common in commercial photography, but the changes went on. The young woman's dark skin had been lightened by several shades. Her dark brown eyes had been changed to a dark blue. She didn't look quite white in the photoshopped image, but she looked pretty close. And the photographer asked me, doesn't she look so much better? Better, as though she had somehow looked bad before. You know, our society constantly tells us that our bodies are not right the way that they naturally are. We are held up to an imaginary image of what true beauty looks like, and that image tends to be white, thin, able-bodied, and cisgender. And the closer we come to that beauty standard, the more that we see ourselves reflected in the images in the world around us, like in movies and magazines. But the more that we differ from that beauty standard, the less we see ourselves reflected in the media. But the problem isn't just one of representation, because bodies that differ from that narrow beauty standard are more likely to be policed, pressured to change, shamed, or even harmed. But why am I talking about this today? So our Soul Matters theme this month is inclusion. And when we think about inclusion, we usually think of it as including others. But another form of inclusion that it is important for us to think about is including ourselves. Not just tolerating ourselves just the way we are, but actually loving ourselves, all of ourselves, every part of us. In my own life, I've never had someone imply to me that I was not white enough, let alone alter my photo to try to erase my racial identity. But people have told me directly or indirectly that I am not thin enough, able-bodied enough, or feminine enough to be seen as beautiful as I could be. And perhaps, like some of you out there, I have been told that many things about my body are flawed and need to be fixed. I have been told I should straighten my hair, take tweezers to my eyebrows, keep my wide shoulders covered, wear makeup, and avoid high heels to keep from looking too tall. And throughout your own lives, you have probably received negative comments too, maybe directly, but often indirectly from the media and things like that. Comments that imply that there is something wrong with your body, that it is not beautiful just the way that it is. You may have been accused of being too fat or too thin, too dark or too pale, too muscular or not muscular enough, too feminine or too masculine, with bad teeth, bad skin, bad hair, and a nose or ears or eyes or thighs that are too small or too large. How can we keep up? And the list, of course, just keeps going on, and each of us gets a little dose of body hatred every day from our society, whether we willingly swallow that poison or not. But some of us are nearly drowned in toxic messages about our bodies, and those messages can actually kill. Some of you may have been paying attention to the attacks on gender-affirming care these past few weeks and the executive orders targeting the brave transgender and non-binary soldiers who serve our country. A whole population of people are being targeted right now simply because some folks don't like the way that they embody their gender. Some people don't think that they are beautiful and infinitely precious inside and out the way that they are in the world. The fear and hatred of transgender bodies can have devastating consequences in our society, and so can the fear of black bodies, disabled bodies, large bodies, and more. So many people move through the world in bodies that are incredibly beautiful and yet are routinely treated as though they are ugly, unhealthy, or immoral. And yet our bodies are good and beautiful. All bodies are good and beautiful. Yes, including your body. A few years ago, I watched a video by the singer Pink, who was accepting the 2017 Michael Jackson Video Vanguard Award. And in Pink's speech, she talked about how her daughter came to her one day and said that she felt boyish and ugly. You know, maybe someone at school had said something mean to her, maybe she had compared herself to pictures in the media, but whatever the reason, that little girl thought that she was ugly. And so Pink took her daughter home and showed her pictures of androgynous stars, and they sat down together and they appreciated their beauty together. And then she told her daughter, "So baby girl, we don't change. We help other people to change so that they can see more kinds of beauty. We don't change. We help other people change so that they can see more kinds of beauty. We help them see that the gem of human beauty has many facets, one for each and every one of us. There is room for all of us." And we will continue with the sermon again in a moment, but again, let's pause now and take some time to stretch our bodies by standing as we're able and returning to our hymn. And our junior worship associates can come up for this one if you'd like.
To
So beauty comes to us in so many different forms. Each person is a unique revelation of the loveliness that's possible in creation's magnificent, constant unfolding. Every single one of us is made in the divine image, male and female and non-binary, black and white and brown, able-bodied and chronically ill and disabled, large and small and everything in between, all made in the divine image, all holy, all whole, all beautiful, all blessings. I say blessings because our bodies are wonderful gifts, even when they sometimes maybe aren't doing quite what we hope that they will. They do so much for us and they deserve our respect. Even the simple act of being alive in our bodies, however they look or function, is a beautiful thing. Think of how amazing our bodies are just to carry us here today, to help us experience this service through our senses, to have thoughts and emotions passing through us, to even have the air move through our lungs and the blood pulse in our veins. Our bodies do so much for us all of the time. They are incredibly good gifts. And yet we are taught by our society that our bodies are not good gifts, but burdens, expensive burdens that must be managed and fixed if we are to be happy, healthy, good, and worthy blessings of life. Body hatred does not benefit us, my friends, but it does benefit someone. In fact, it is a $66 billion industry. If you can be convinced that your body isn't good enough and must change, someone out there will make money off of your insecurity. Someone will find a way to sell you products or services to help fix your supposedly inadequate body. Dr. Gail Dines once said, if tomorrow women, and I would include today men and genderqueer people, if people woke up and decided they really liked their bodies, just think of how many industries would go out of business. Now, I'm not proposing we put some industries out of business. Well, actually, I am. I would not be a very good millennial minister if I didn't, encourage you to get rid of some industries that are profiting off of body shame. But more than that, I am inviting us all to love our bodies and one another's bodies, to love our whole bodies, the entire body, to love all bodies. I'm inviting us to affirm that we are all, every last one of us, worthy of love, romantic relationships, acceptance, rights, and the space to exist as we are, no matter what body we move through life in. And let me say that again. So everybody is worthy of love, no matter what body we are in. Everybody is worthy of romantic relationships, no matter what body we are in. Everybody is worthy of acceptance and respect, no matter what body we are in. No exceptions. Everyone is worthy of rights, human and civil rights, no matter what body we are in. And everybody is worthy of this space to exist as we are, no matter what body we're in. Everybody. Every body. And I'm inviting us to take care of our bodies in ways that are appropriate for us personally, recognizing that that might be different for each and every person. I'm inviting us to honor our bodies as the sacred vessels, the only vessels through which we get to move through and experience this awesome gift of life. I'm inviting us to appreciate the diverse beauty of the human form, to recognize how amazing each and every body is, to be true to ourselves in the way that we express ourselves, and to let others do the same. And I'm inviting us to recognize that we are truly beautiful, flaws and all. My friends, each of our bodies is a precious gift, valuable beyond measure and beautiful beyond compare. May we honor them, may we be gentle with them, and may we love them. Amen. Blessed be, and may it be so. Now let's go ahead and give those bodies a little love again by stretching and rising one more time to sing our hymn. And again, Charlotte, both of our Charlottes can come on up here.
You get to sing around now. Wow. And if you notice, the first part repeats and the second part repeats. Okay? And we'll start over here. Return again, return again, on the screen. Return to the home of your soul. Return again, return again, return to the home of your soul. Return to God, return to what you are, return to where you are, was born and reborn again. Return to who you are, return to what you are, return to where you are, born and reborn again. Return to where you are, return to what you are, return to where you are, born and reborn again. Return again, return again, return to the home of your soul.
It's time now for us to bring our time of worship to a close, but although we extinguish our chalice flame, its light will continue to burn in our hearts. As we prepare to go out into our daily lives, I would like to invite you into a body prayer by the Reverend Christine Robinson. So let us now enter into a space of quiet and peace one more time. Ground yourself by noticing your closest contact with chair and floor, by sitting straight and becoming aware of your breathing. And look at your hands. Look down at your hands. They have been through a lot, these hands. They have strength, scars, beauty. I invite you to remember that it is your hands that do the work of love in the world. These hands may hold another's hands. These hands may type emails to politicians, sign cards of consolation and congratulation. These hands may patiently teach, quilt works of beauty, or write words urging peace. These hands may bathe children, feed elders, nurse the ill, work the earth, organize communities. These hands clasp in prayer, open in release, grasp in solidarity, and clench in righteous anger. May we remember that these hands are God's hands, your hands, our hands, a great mystery of flesh and intention. May they embody love. Amen. Blessed be, and go in peace.